Hey guys, it's Redbeard, your host, and today I just want to say thank you for checking out the Shit Show podcast. Welcome. Hope you guys are excited. And remember, if you're new here on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening over on Spotify or one of the other audio formats, make sure you guys follow as well so you can keep up with all the episodes. Otherwise, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Let's dive into it.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know anything about PCs, man.
I was just
If I ran
saying
a
random
PC,
numbers.
if I ran a nerd-based PC build TTRPG game, I would be the worst DM because I mean, you plug it in, it works.
Hey, actually, there's several programs that I use for Dungeons and Dragons that like virtual reality based that you could actually play
Yeah.
with.
It's wild. There's
Oh, yeah.
a bunch of stuff coming out now that I'm like, somebody completely took all of the tile sets and everything and turned them into pixel art. And they've released a virtual tabletop of pixel art, so you can get a pixel, like a pixel character of your character, and use it as a token. And you walk around, and it's like playing Pokemon back in the day, but it's Dungeons and
Oh my
Dragons with your
God.
character. I just got in on the beta test of that.
Yo, 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 what's good? What's happening, everybody? It is Dan coming back with the Shit Show podcast, and today I am joined by my wonderful, fantastic co host. If you guys don't know him, now you do. It is Josh, aka Immortal Axis, and Tyler, aka Red Berserker. How are you guys doing tonight?
Feeling
great.
good, Dan. I'm feeling great.
Yeah, I just thought we'd be a little different with our introductions tonight, but tonight we
love it.
have a very, very close friend and fellow family member of the Shit Show podcast, but more importantly, a very good friend. You guys have heard about him a few times on the show before. Trevor, or Death Cleric. He is the dungeon master for our friends over at Dungeon Hunters. If you guys have not checked that channel out, that information is down below and in the featured section of the YouTube channel. But without further ado, though, I'm going to get started. We're going to do like we normally do. We're going to go around, let everybody introduce themselves, and then we're going to give the mic to our special guest, and he will be able to tell you guys a little bit about himself. So, Immortal, I will let you go first, brother. Get it started off.
Well, I'm Immortal Axis. Find me on Twitch under that name, TikTok. You find me actually under there on YouTube now. I changed it up this past week. So everything's just Immortal Axis now, and I make Rogue Company and Destiny content.
Sweet. Awesome. Subscribe, like, comment.
Hey, shenanigans.
What's up, little shitters? I'm Red Berserker or Tyler. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
Did you hit it a
Twitter,
little too
YouTube,
hard? Did you hit it a little too hard, buddy?
Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. That's what it was. Twitch. Almost forgot about the Twitch. I'm on there. You can find me at Red_Berserker, all the same name. And yeah, happy to be here.
Sweet. All right. Well, as you guys already know, I'm Dan or Redbeard. You guys can find me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/RedbeardPlays. Everything's spelled normal except for Beard. Beard has a 3 in it. Everything else is spelled normal. No spacing either. But yeah, we are going to get started with the shit show. Like I said, we have a special guest on tonight. Trevor, the mic is all yours, brother. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, man. Hi, happy to be here. Glad I could be here for this episode. My name is Trevor. I am the creative elder brain of Dungeon Hunters, a tabletop role-playing group comprised of me and a bunch of fucking dorks that try and turn the game against me every session. It's a whole lot of fun, and we play a bunch of different role-playing games, so it's never boring. We just finished our 10th episode of our season 1 of our campaign, and in doing that, you can find us in all 10 of those episodes in full at youtube.com/Dungeon Hunters. And that's where you can find me. All my information's there too. And thank you so much for featuring us on your channel. That means the world to me. That's really awesome. And also, I am the dungeon master of Tilted Rolls.
Yes, we have talked
So,
about Tilted
yes.
Rolls last week. So yeah, he will be our dungeon master for Tilted Rolls.
Yes.
I'm super pumped. We've been play testing like crazy, and yeah, you've done a fantastic job, especially getting me back into it. Getting back into it since it's been so long. So yeah, if you guys want to learn more about D&D or just watch people play and be nerdy and just be the best versions of themselves they can be, head over to the Dungeon Hunters and check that out. Was there anything else that you wanted to put out there, or people could check out, or whatever, promote?
I mean, my socials are all on there. You can find me, on Instagram at xdeathcleric, and then on Twitter is xdeathcleric. Everything's spelled completely normal. The X's are just in different places. But yeah, that's it for me. That's all I have.
All right, awesome. Well, let's get into the, I guess you could say, the meat and the potatoes of this podcast. The reason why you guys are really here and that you probably clicked on this to watch it or listen to it for the first time. So, as mentioned, I believe in our second episode, these guys had talked about the Batman, the new one
Batman
that is released. These guys challenged me to go see it, and unfortunately, I was not able to see it before our third episode. That's why we did not even mention it last week in our episode. But finally, after that recording session, I had the ability to go to the movie theater, sit down, and really watch it fully focused and just take it in. And I couldn't not come back to this topic and discuss my experience, these guys' experiences with the movies or just with the franchise. And I'm really stoked to get into it, but I think Red was the one that like initially brought it up, so I'm just going to let him dive into his thoughts on the movie, and just I guess start us out with discussing Batman because you were the one that was so stoked about it. In that first episode, it was brought up, so go for it, man.
Dude, I'm so glad we finally get to talk about this because me and Josh have been waiting for months for him to see this movie, and it took him almost a year to see it finally. So
I know, that's
thank
what it
God
felt
we
like.
could. It literally did, and me and my brother want to go see it again. Like that's how good Robert Pattinson just fucking nailed every nail in the coffin for that role. Like I feel like he's right there by Christian Bale, to be honest.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, he's never gonna beat Kevin Conroy, though. I'm
Amen,
sorry.
brother. Hey, you goddamn right, brother.
After actually between growing up watching the animated series and then seeing him in the live action,
Oh yeah.
just oh my gosh, it just. But I have to say, when I went to see the Batman movie, I was very skeptical. I went in with the I'm going to be disappointed, and I was already in that mindset.
Oh yeah.
5 minutes in, I'm sitting there going, "Whoa,
Me too.
wait a
Me
minute."
too.
I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
what did everybody feel about that walking into that movie? Like, not knowing what to expect as him as Batman or just as Bruce Wayne, like, without even. Because the thing is like, okay, if he kind of sucks at Batman, I mean, at least he's got the outfit to kind of like cover up the fact that you've got Edward from Twilight up here. But whenever he's Bruce Wayne, like he's in the most vulnerable form of that character, right? So like
Right.
he has to portray that. He has to really sell that character. And I thought he did a good job.
I
Yeah.
yeah. I went in there and just I did not expect him to be the Batman.
Not at all.
No, I had
Yeah.
seen the trailers. I had made the jokes. The thing is, for me, is between seeing him in Twilight and a few others, I mean, Harry Potter, seeing him in that way, he was always the gentle kind of, I want to be the rough guy. But you take him and you put him in this dark, just tortured soul. and he took it and envisioned it and just ran with it beautifully. For me, it's the fact that he does show the younger, darker Batman. It's not, oh, I'm Batman and I'm Bruce Wayne. It's I'm I'm just Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
I think he portrayed like a very damaged, like you were saying, like younger, darker Batman. Like
Yeah.
it's very symbolic of how internally just emotionally damaged he was, like with, you know, what happened to his parents and stuff like that. The anger that he clearly carries from all of these different events are being personified as Batman, right? He wants to do
Yes.
good, he wants to help people, but like the show or the movie said, or he said in the movie, I am vengeance. And ultimately in the end of the movie, he realized, like, I have to approach this differently. Like, I understand I'm trying to do the right thing, but my approach
Yes.
is perceived this way by the city.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think one thing for me about the Batman that's interesting is, first off, Kevin Conroy in the animated Batman series was the first one to say, "I am vengeance." So just jot that down. He says, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am the Batman." So that was like a nod to him, which is one of the Easter eggs that I immediately was like, "Yeah, man, there it is." But like, there's so much with this Batman, right? Because it's almost like they took from the Long Halloween comic book and Year One and kind of brought it together. But there's still that hint of like Dark Knight, which comes in.
Yeah.
But this Gotham, I think, is probably the most believable Gotham I've ever seen portrayed, because they didn't try and branch out too crazy or make anything too vast. They just focused on Gotham itself. And that's the thing, is Batman doesn't understand that Bruce Wayne is the mask. He doesn't know that yet throughout this
No.
movie. But there is that turning point at the end of the movie, and I know we'll get there, so I'll bring it back up. But he says a line, and that's where he starts to begin to understand that Bruce Wayne has to be the mask for Batman. Batman is Bruce Wayne, and we see that in this when he's in Batman's attire and he walks in and he is the greatest detective, which we haven't really seen well in any Batman movie until this
Oh,
one.
yes.
So
yeah.
so now we have that
Good
thriller,
catch. Good
that
catch right
thriller.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, it started out being called Detective Comics for DC. That's what Batman was under. He was the great detective. It was made to appeal to mystery nerds and people who like solving puzzles. That's where the Riddler came from. That's where all of these different things came from. So we see this Batman doesn't understand that Bruce Wayne has to be the mask yet. So a bunch of people were like, where's Playboy Bruce Wayne? And I'm like, this dude's me if I were Batman. He's depressed.
Yeah, he's a relatable character.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's like, dude, there's TikToks going off all over the place of like 23-year-old dudes, and it's like my girlfriend telling me I'm not the Batman, and it's them looking in the mirror with eyeliner to the song Something in the Way, and it's like, I'm literally Batman. Because like, dude, he straight up is so emotional. He even hits Alfred with the line, "You're not my real dad." Like,
Yeah, I remember
he
that
hits
part.
Alfred with the like,
Yeah.
"You're not my dad, dude." If I were Alfred, I would have kicked his ass.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I said
Dude,
what I
he's-
said a minute ago about it representing like a young, very damaged, like developing
yeah.
young person. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I relate to that. I'm fucked up from shit that happened to me 10 years ago still. I'm still
Yeah.
working through. But I imagine when I get to the other side, I'll be more mature, I'll be well put together, I'll have a better understanding of the reality of the situation, and I'll improve. And I feel like that would be like him in this situation as he matures and gets better. His approach to how he handles things matures.
Yeah, the other thing is, I think this Batman doesn't just have to worry about avenging his parents' death or like vengeance as a whole. Now he has to start thinking about redeeming them, which is where I think we're going to see that Playboy
Justice.
Bruce Wayne comes in. kind of the opposite. He has to redeem because his parents are outed to be not the best. Also, we
Yeah.
see mentally ill Martha Wayne, which
Yeah.
is like never been talked about. And so, like, that brings up Court of Owls. That brings up a whole different quest line with Hush, which was an Easter egg in this.
Yes, I was gonna say.
And I was freaking out because the Riddler's design has been Hush in past comic books. So, like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, are we getting Robert Pattinson as this clone or twin? I don't know, dude. I was freaking out
Oh,
the whole time.
I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with the next one. Just how
yeah,
the ending of we're still haven't even started to begin with the beginning of the
We're
movie.
not even
it's
started.
it's that's how
Because
good it
they
is.
already showed us Robin in the first, like, 20 minutes.
I
Right,
wasn't the only one
right.
that thought that.
Right.
Kayla
You don't
literally
have
goes,
to think it.
I'm
The
sitting
actor
there.
who played the guy in the gang with the half face paint,
Yeah.
the black dude, he is Tim Drake in the Titans HBO Max show.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
And we're literally
Yeah,
watching
he's
it, and
Tim
Kayla
Drake.
goes,
Oh,
"That's Robin," and I was like, "How do you know that? What do you mean that's Robin?" And at no point is Robin actually formally introduced, obviously, but then I'm
Right.
just like, "Yeah, that's Robin."
That's
Red
definitely
didn't even
Robin.
know. And Red looked at me in the theater and he goes, "That's Robin." And I was like, "Yeah, probably."
I thought.
And
I
Red was
thought
like,
and I'm like,
"That's cool, man." And it was like 20 minutes in.
That's
and we were
literally
it.
what happened. I was eating my fucking milk duds, bro, and that's fucking Robin right there. Like
the writers are watching our podcast. They're going, "Okay, that wasn't who that was, but we're gonna change it to that. That's good. That's good."
Well,
Right.
dude, don't get me started on the fact that Robert Pattinson, when asked how he formed his Batman character, he's like, "I went and scoped out Reddit and saw what people were saying about me and how they think Batman should be
Oh.
played. So then I just did that." And
Did
he
he
goes,
really?
"But there were some." Yeah, dude, look up the interview with Robert Pattinson. And he
Wow.
fully expresses, he goes,
Oh.
Reddit really helped me form this character. And it also showed me which comic books to read. So he read The Long Halloween. He read Year One. He read
gotta
Dark
see
Knight
this.
Returns. And so, like, he comes in. Also,
He
the
did his
dude who
homework.
plays Jim Gordon is a massive Batman fan.
Dude,
Like, a massive Batman fan. Also was incredible in Westworld, in other movies that he's been in, and was fantastic in this movie. But yeah, I like have a bunch of notes that like I've had from the Batman movie. But like we see the actor's name is Jay Licurgo, I believe. I'm not sure on the pronunciation, but he is Tim Drake in the HBO Max series. And
okay.
then they reference Bloodhaven later,
Yes.
which is where Nightwing is or goes. We don't
Dude.
know where in the timeline. Nightwing also could be, and it could be done, completely unrelated to Batman. He could be his own hero that didn't have ties to Batman. Do I like that? No.
No.
But they could do it and it would work. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be game changing for me.
So the other thing for me was Colin as the Penguin.
dude, I couldn't even the whole movie. Trevor, that's not him. No, it's
Yes.
Colin Farrell.
Dude,
No, it's
we're
not.
sitting there, and I
can't
was like,
see any of it.
It's him. But you weren't alone in being like, that's not him. He was next to the director. Like they've all done interviews about it, and Colin's like the most interesting interview about the Batman because 80% of the cast had no idea he was Penguin. And this one guy that was a fellow actor, he's like, I don't want to name names, but he was like, hey man, who the fuck is this guy? Like, can we get him offset for the scene? And they were like, that's Colin Farrell. And he was like, oh my God. What? And Colin Farrell was like, really nice to meet you, because he's like so Irish. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
And
I
so
miss-
it's
I never
crazy
miss.
seeing him.
Oh,
And
I love that, by the way. Oh my God. I love how we're talking about this because he's also in Daredevil, which we also saw Daredevil like in it as well. Like they're gonna
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Another
It's
thing
wild.
that this Batman did for me was he didn't use guns, and the suit was actually high tech.
Yeah.
The fact that a lot of people are like, "Oh, Ben Affleck actually did a great Batman." No, he didn't. First off, first off, Batman doesn't use guns.
Right.
Second off, the suit is a lot more high tech in this, and I love the fact that he doesn't wear it throughout the entire night. You see him riding around on his motorcycle,
Yes.
and then he puts it on.
But yeah,
He,
because
it,
the reality is he's trying to sneak into these places without
yes,
being noticed. You think Batman could actually walk around fucking Gotham and somebody not see him? But there's Batman while he's like trying to sneak in to like get the jump on some
yeah.
gangsters or whatever. Like it makes sense.
I thought that was a really great point to make throughout the entire movie, that he didn't just wear the suit all the time.
Yeah.
He hid who he actually was and just acted like a normal person.
That shot when he raised the visor up and he had the paint underneath it and was just like looking.
Oh.
I was like, one, this guy's a creep, man. This Batman is a creep. This guy is deranged. I love it.
Especially when he's sitting there watching Selena and her apartment going around there.
Dude, I looked at Red and I was like, this man's about to catch a case, dog. What is he doing? Like,
he literally said that.
Like, dude, this dude's just
got binoculars
and it's like, something in the way. And like, we see him, we're like, oh, is he spying on Penguin? And it's like, Selena. And we're like, you dirty dog. You dirty dog.
You
and he's just
little
like,
pervert.
What and to tie into that too, when it goes into that whole like hiding who he was statement that you just made, Josh. If you notice how he's dressed when he's like not dressed as Batman, he's covering his face, like he's still covering his face, and so he's still taking into account as well that I'm not only am I Batman, I am Bruce Wayne. I can't just walk down the street dressed normal and people just walk by me and not think anything of it. Like, why the hell is Bruce Wayne in the roughest part of town right now? That doesn't
with a backpack.
With a backpack, so he still had to do more than just hide his Batman identity. He had to also hide his identity as well, just to get around.
Right.
And so the fact that
makes it.
Yeah, go ahead, say it. We're probably on the same page.
No, which makes it more intense when he goes to the lounge.
Oh yeah,
like the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah,
and fucking busts in the door as Bruce Wayne and is like, and you're like, whoa, dude, you really blew up the spot. And he was like, I'm a billionaire. Fuck him. Like,
basically,
what I love.
Basically, you saying that, it's not what I was gonna say, but it's the same. It's the same. Like, I was gonna explain it, and you just gave an example, so that's even better.
I'm very, very sorry.
Before this goes any further, if you have not watched the movie, I'm sorry, but spoiler alert.
The spoiler alert is right now.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it, we gave it what, Josh? How
2
many weeks?
Yeah, you guys called it the Marvel week, so I'm calling it the DC 2 week.
All right. Speaking about when he goes to the iceberg.
Their spoiler warning was whenever I said I'm going to see it, and then they got an extra week before we talked about it. They've already had their spoiler warning.
Right.
So go ahead, Josh.
When he first goes to the iceberg dressed up as Batman, the guys that open the door, they freak out. Then he comes back as Bruce Wayne. They're all excited and everything. And then he just knocks and disappears the third time. That was like the perfect transition to how he gets into places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. That was awesome. That was
so good.
I feel like that whole scene was when he went back, both when he went back as Bruce to talk. I just went blank. His name.
Cobblepot?
No, not Cobblepot.
No,
The other one that
when
was
he went back
him.
as Bruce Wayne to talk to.
Yeah, the gangster.
Thank you. I can't even remember his name right now. I'm just here now. I have to look it up. Hold on. Now I can't finish my thought.
Carleone.
I loved it though, man. I definitely give it
Oh,
like. And when I
Falcone.
said
Falcone, thank you.
Falcone,
When he
There
went
it
back
is.
to talk to Falcone, yeah, that was intense. Like I was on the edge of my seat like the whole time watching that scene because it was just, and the whole time I'm also looking at his face, like Bruce Wayne's face, and I'm like, how can you not fucking tell it's the same chin? How can you not tell? And it's
Yeah.
just that moment
same
of like,
voice, like
it's that moment of like, is he gonna be like found out in some way or another, and he's gonna have to like fight out of this, or what's gonna happen? And just, I don't know. I thought there was a chance there that they could have just went that direction with it for a moment.
Yeah.
So there's only been one Batman besides Batman Beyond that has worn a full face shield, and it was done kind of in the climate of like political correctness and stuff like that. But that Batman, it was like an alternate universe Batman, but
Yeah.
he hid his full face because he was black. And he said that in his universe, if heroes kind of had like the full open face, it was because they were showing police or something skin. There's like a whole discourse about it. But yeah, I often think like with the Batman open face, like somebody's gonna recognize that
Yeah.
chin, my dude.
Mhm.
Like
Okay, but-
somebody's going to.
I mean,
think about
imagine if
this.
one of us were Batman. The only one here that could get away with it would be Josh because he doesn't have a beard. Like me or Red, we'd have ours on. They like hair sticking out. It'd be pretty easy
But-
to narrow that down.
But I could see it to where it's not as obvious when you look at fucking Superman and Clark Kent.
Oh, that's
All he
true.
does is
Yeah.
change his glasses.
But the weird thing is they
Yeah. Oh my gosh, where's Josh? Oh, there he is. Fuck, like
Well, he does do the little hair twist. Like,
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah. You gotta, Oh,
so so
it did the actual curl.
the only time that I've seen it done really well is I think Tom Welling in Smallville's last
Yeah.
episode,
Yes.
where he's like
Yes.
hunched over and stuff.
Yeah.
And like when he's Clark Kent, like he's hunched over, he's got big glasses, his hair's just nerdily parted. And then when he's Superman, he's like going to tell her, and she's turned around, and you see him like tower. And then like when he takes the glasses off, like his bones like stretch out like this. And so like his whole posture changes. And when he removes the glasses and like moves his hair a bit, he looks way different. And you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still know it's him, but
You know that
Yeah.
that's got to be
Sus-
bad for the bag.
suspending disbelief. Okay, that's what this all comes down to.
hey, no,
I
he
just
has
find
the
it
same
hard for
powers as-
Batman to, I mean, if you were working, say, like how it was on The Dark Knight when, one of his employees was like, I want this, or I'm gonna expose, and then Morgan Freeman's character, I like it. So you here, Trevor, tell us what he says. You do it the best.
Oh, when he's like, so you're telling me you want to blackmail the richest man in the world? And the guy's like, and swallows deeply, and he goes, that's what I thought, and like walks past him. Because he's like, you're trying to
Goes
blackmail
around.
the richest man in the world by saying he's Batman? Like, do you understand how ridiculous that sounds? And the guy's like, I'm in trouble, aren't I? And he's like, yeah, dude, not good.
So you're saying Bruce Wayne goes out in a suit, dresses Batman, beating
And
his
beats up
enemy
people.
and beats up his enemies to a pulp.
Yeah.
And you want to go after that person?
Okay,
Like-
I still can't get over the fucking meme where it's like Batman throws a guy off a second-story building, hitting every fire escape on the way down, slamming into the car, and he's like, "Where's the drugs?" Like, like, dude, I laughed so hard thinking about Batman just like pile driving people through a fire escape onto a car, and then grabbing him and be like, "Where's the cocaine?" And the guy's like, "It's just an eighth." What the fuck, dude?
I lost it on my fall down. Like,
Yeah, dude. Like,
That
but
wasn't
also
a
I think
smoke
it's
bomb.
yeah, I think it's super important to say for this Batman. Canonically, this Batman does not fuck. This man's never fucked. It's so evident. Anytime Catwoman comes into play,
Oh my
he turns
God.
into the fucking nerd at the locker that's like, a girl walks up to him and is like, I like your shoes. And he's like, yeah, I put them on my feet sometimes. And they're like, I have feet too. And he goes, both of them? Like, what? Huh? Like this fool, like if you walked up to him and were
Both
like
of 'em?
cream and sugar, he'd be like, never thought of it before. And you're like, just fucking, dude, what are you talking about? Like the amount of footage. I want a director's cut, but less footage. What I want is just him as Bruce Wayne, still being Batman and not knowing how to transition. You'll have 45 minutes of footage of him like this. With running makeup all down his face. And I'm like, this dude rules. This is sick. Like
this
multiple
is
times
Bruce Wayne
in
Batman.
the dumbest moments, I would look at Red and be like, that's Batman. And he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
he's literally just staring at the ground in the Batcave like this. And I'm like, yeah.
I feel like that's a
That's Batman.
poster. Like that's a poster waiting to happen. Like
yeah.
and the only source of light to his face is just the backlight kind of splat like from coming in from inside, just kind of splashing off the back of the wall behind him.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I hope they come out with a like an extended version though, you know, like because I want to see what other content that could have possibly came into play because you know they filmed so many things for this movie.
And like I know DC has never been known for their like post credit like any. I don't think there's really any DC film that I'm aware of that has a post credit, but I felt like at the end of this movie like they missed a good opportunity at some kind of post credit. Whether that is some kind of cut like outtake thing or for that or leaking into what potentially the next film could be like. I felt like the way this one ended, it ended really well.
Yeah.
And I felt like they had a good opportunity to kind of give us a very small taste of like something to come.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The other thing for me with Robert Pattinson as Batman was the emotion that he put into it. Okay, so the kid that just lost his father, he makes that emotional connection with the kid throughout the entire movie. And it's not just, I know you're feeling. No, you see it. He's got that look of, I just relived that moment that you're feeling right now. And that was like, okay, this guy, yes, he knew the assignment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it humanized him very well.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when he was Bruce Wayne, the fact that he did the part of keeping to himself, he did the even the brooding then, okay? It was more of a sexier brooding than the I'm Batman, but you know, yeah.
Yeah. I thought he played good, man.
Yeah.
Like,
go ahead.
I want to know your guys's list of Batmans. I mean, I know we brought it up on streams before, but now that you've seen that, like, I mean, you know, Christian Bale is still one of my favorites. Pattinson, just right, like they're neck and neck to me. But like, I love Christian Bale. I mean, especially the Dark Knight. Like, you can't go wrong with that, and I think that's why Christian Bale's still there, just because of the Dark Knight. I mean, Batman Begins and like, you know, they were all great. But just like, you know, Heath Ledger, I think, because Heath Ledger just boosted up even more. But, you know, like Christian Bale, Robert Pattinson, Val Kilmer, Michael Keaton, and yeah, I can't put Ben Affleck on there.
You can't
How
even
about
put
George
George Clooney
Clooney?
on me.
Oh, sorry, George Clooney is at the end, but I just see George Clooney.
I
Come
gotta
on.
have my Batman with nipples, baby.
Dude,
I
You know,
think he did a
like,
good Bruce Wayne. I thought he had a pretty decent Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne, but I didn't like his Batman.
I can do both. I've seen him in too many other movies that just doesn't play him as a Batman. But he is
Oceans.
probably my I've seen like Oceans and then like Dawn of the Dead. Like just that. He didn't strike me as
So-
both characters.
So
Yeah.
what you're telling me is Kevin Conroy didn't even make your list?
Well, he's
That's
I'm talking
fucked
about
up,
like
man.
like the real
He's a real
Batmans
person.
from Tim.
Actually, he's played a real Batman.
He
He
has
played a
played a
real
real
Batman.
Batman. Flashpoint, baby.
I'm just I'm just picturing it now. Trevor's gonna be texting you after we're done, and you're gonna be laying in
Oh.
bed tonight. He's gonna send you like 6 paragraphs about why you fucked up this
No.
discussion because you didn't mention it the right Batman.
But like
It's
people
gonna
even get on me because I feel the same way about Joker. My number one Joker is Mark Hamill. Always will be. Heath Ledger is very close behind him, but Mark Hamill's been doing the Joker for years.
Yeah, I love
Like
Mark
since I
Hamill's
was a
Joker.
child. And the
Since
crazy thing
before
is,
he held a saber in his hand.
Yes,
I'm
I'm pretty sure that is correct.
I believe it was just after.
Maybe.
It was
Let's
after
see.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Continue
He
what
did
you're
it-
saying. I'm
he's
gonna
doing it
verify this.
longer.
Yeah, no worries. I'm pretty sure it was after Star Wars because he liked the idea that he could still be relevant, but not as much in the spotlight because Star
Yeah.
Wars brought a lot of spotlight.
Oh yeah.
And he has his own ideas about Star Wars. We won't even get into that
Okay,
here, but
it's
but,
actually
yeah.
a lot later than we realized. All of us were
Oh,
wrong.
dang.
1992,
yeah,
and
it
Star Wars.
it was after Star
Oh,
Wars.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's well
yeah.
after Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's done several characters.
Yeah, he's
Voice
done a lot.
acting.
Yeah.
He did great as Skeletor.
Yeah, he
Yes.
began his career with Batman in 1992, the
Yep.
animated series. So the Batman that we all grew up watching on Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh yeah.
Love
So
it, dude.
now, what I will say before I answer the question about my order of Batmans, and it ties back into our conversation of Patterson and previous Batman, Christian Bale,
Christian Bale.
about like who is the better Batman and stuff. For me as Batman, it's super close between the two characters, like just the way they deliver Batman. I love them both for their own individual reasons why. Like, but I personally I find not because it's Christian Bale, it's just that playboy persona that he's selling as this rich, I can get whoever I want, whenever I want, whenever and whatever. And this Bruce Wayne does not come across that way. Like, he's very obviously emo sad boy, still processing all of his issues and stuff. Like, that's why I think he's so relatable, but he's not flashy and out there with his wealth and things like that. Or at least it does not appear that he is. And for me, I think that's why Robert Pattinson is what, for me, just barely puts him above Christian Bale. But I also know that Christian Bale was to a T selling the Batman and the Bruce Wayne that he was supposed to.
Oh yeah.
And that's why it's very hard for me to choose. But I feel like the reason why this Batman is my favorite is because he's a lot more practical with his vehicles, his not weapons, but his arsenal of tools. They're a lot more practical, and a lot of things that they show him using, you can go and buy yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm not implying that anybody can be Batman. I'm just saying it was relatable in that sense of You know,
Just
that
go and start
he,
being
he
Batman.
didn't necessarily have to be a billionaire to be able to be Batman.
Right.
Mm.
And like Matt Reeves even canonized, I'm pretty sure in the prequel comic that they released, he built that Batmobile when he was 16. So like he's
Yeah.
had it, but he prefers the motorcycle because he can dip in and out of traffic and he's not like held down by anybody. So when he's scouting in the day, because like I said, we're not seeing Playboy Bruce Wayne, but what comes with Playboy Bruce Wayne is the Wayne Foundation, right? That he uses to redeem his family and get into the limelight and become the Playboy. Because right now, no one is interested in Bruce Wayne. Everyone's like, he was just an orphan. What happened to him was tragic, but it was years ago. And the Wayne Foundation's not making Gotham any better. So he says a line near the end where he goes, I now know what I need to be for them. I need to be hope just as much as I'm vengeance.
Yes.
So Batman now becomes the vengeance. The hope now has to be Bruce Wayne. He has to be the shining light. So now what we're going to see is Robert Pattinson starting to realize, okay, I've made the persona of Batman. That's who I am since my parents' death. Bruce Wayne has to be my alter ego. I can't be anything like Batman. So it's that split persona that he has. Because now Bruce Wayne, I think we're going to start seeing him use his intellect that he uses as Batman, as Bruce Wayne. I can't wait to see Robert Pattinson being a cocky asshole and like scheming like a company executive would do. Because that's a huge part of Bruce as well. So many other industry companies try and uphand the Wayne corporation. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, Bruce is smarter than all of them because he's Batman. That's a very interesting side of Batman. And so, with that being said, I can't wait to see what we see from Robert Pattinson as a different Bruce Wayne in this next film.
Yeah.
Because he knows he has to make that change. Because you can't be riding your motorcycle now that the Wayne Foundation is under, or the Wayne Corporation is under attack. He has to say something because everyone's like, yo, your dad had somebody fucking killed and your mom was crazy. Now we're starting to see a lot of where his mental illness that he portrays in the film comes from. It could be passed down from his mom. We have no idea yet, but we can see the fractured elements of him like we've all talked about. Yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne, but if we watch that funeral scene closely, he's not Bruce Wayne at all. He's Batman the whole time. He just doesn't have the mask on. And we see the commissioner look at him after he tackles the kid. Like, how did you know that was going to happen?
Right.
Yep.
But that whole scene, I compare it to the new Spider-Man film with the spider tingle that Tom Holland gets. The way that scene played out was the same way as the funeral scene. Straight up, Batman is checking his entire area. He's being the detective. As soon as people start making noise, he immediately understands there's a threat. He looks around, thinks about the vantage point this person would watch this happen from, looks right up and sees the Riddler looking down. The Riddler turns and walks away, and the car bashes through. He saves the kid, looks up to the balcony, guy's gone. And he's like, fuck. And we see it all happen. And in that moment, he's not Bruce Wayne. He's let it all go.
Nope.
He's done it in front of everybody. But because it was so chaotic, I think only Commissioner Gordon saw. He's the only one that's like starting to put the pieces together. And I think the kid is too. Because Batman walks past the doorway when he's in the house.
Yep.
And makes eye contact with them, and then he does it again in the funeral multiple times before the car comes in and after. These are the things that I pick up because, like, I'm such a Batman dork.
I mean, Commissioner Gordon always had to have some sort of knowledge that Bruce
Right.
was Batman.
Right.
Anytime in the comics with the way their relationship was, and as much as they were buddy when he was Bruce Wayne or when he was Batman, you know, he had to have known. He didn't say it.
Right.
I mean,
So, Dan, what were your, like, the rest of your because I don't want to stray too far off of like where we were.
Right. We
Oh.
were just finishing what we were talking about before, but I want to hear everybody's list, so we can do
So,
that.
Yeah.
so my Batman list. So, and if I miss any, then just assume that they're down the list. But Robert Pattinson, Christian Bale, as I just explained, very, very, very close. I think everybody's gonna probably fall into that category. If not, it's okay to be wrong. But those two are very, very close for me. And then for me after that, I would say, because I grew up watching like Batman Forever, like all of those. And out of all of those, I will say the Val Kilmer one was definitely probably my favorite to watch as a kid when I was growing up, and it would come on TV and stuff. I really enjoyed that portrayal of Batman. If we're talking about movies, like I really enjoyed the Clooney movies because of the way Gotham was portrayed in those films, and I liked his Batmobile. If I'm being honest, it was just over exaggerated, and it kind of had that comic book movie feel. Like it felt like you were watching a comic book. It was just everything was very exaggerated and over the top, and I just really liked that about the movie. But he is definitely down towards the bottom. Ben Affleck, I think we talked about this last time we discussed this, guys. Not a big Ben Affleck fan, anyways. Like personally, I've never really watched any of the Batman movies with him in them at all. I've not seen him at all, so I can't really give an opinion on him as a Batman. But I will say I did think that his suit looked pretty dope. I just thought it was a cool looking bat suit, but I did not think it tied into just off of appearance of what a Batman should look like, if that makes any sense at all. So him and Clooney are bottom of my list. So, and then growing up, as I mentioned before, I'm drawing a blank on the voice actor's name, but for animated Batman,
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, Kevin Conwell. Yeah, he's up there too.
Be sure to put that on your list, otherwise you'll get texts too.
Yeah. He is on my list because that was one of my Saturday morning traditions was to watch animated Batman. Like I loved it.
Oh yeah.
So
most animated Batman feature films and shows you can find on HBO Max. Yeah. Fun fact for the listener. So if you have HBO Max, there's so many Batman movies.
I want to start watching them tonight.
Yeah. Immortal, what are your top Batman?
Well,
what are your Batman?
Kevin's at the top. He's my guy. Then it's Christian Bale, Robert Pattinson. I also liked Bruce Greenwood as Batman. He was a great voice actor with him. Then I've got to go with Val, Michael Keaton, and then George Clooney's the last one. I cannot get past the ass and the nips. Okay,
the Batman nipples.
My favorite suit, man.
About the freaking butt crack.
I had my sexual awakening to the Batman butt, dude. You know what I mean?
I tell you what, though, you want to talk about a great Alfred? That movie had a great one to me.
Yeah. I did like that Alfred a lot. Yes. And I did fail to mention oh my god. Michael Keaton. Him and Val Kilmer are tied for me. And then George Clooney.
Yeah. But at the bottom of the list though, it's George Clooney and Adam West. I still like the Adam West Batman.
Oh dang.
Beautiful.
You can't get past the hilarity of it. You want real shenanigans with Batman? Go watch Adam West.
Yeah, it's just Camp City. It's great.
Yeah, that's just fun Batman for sure.
For me, Kevin Conroy, number 1. Number 2 is actually, and this is a cheat, Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, voiced by Will Friedle, who is the older brother from Boy Meets World, if you didn't know that. He is my second favorite Batman. third would be Christian Bale, and tied at third would be Robert Pattinson. And then from there, I would probably say Michael Keaton. And then Ben Affleck doesn't even make the list. Adam West is above Ben Affleck. I think it was god awful. I just couldn't do it. He was just too much Dark Knight for me, and I'm talking about the comic books. But like unambiguously, like they were like, no, Batman doesn't kill anybody in this film, and I was like, I just watched him blow up 2 semis. You're telling me everyone survived? That's fucking crazy to me. Also, he literally flipped multiple vehicles. I, as a medical professional in my time, doubt they were all seat belted in, and there's just no way you roll people's vehicles and nobody's actually fucking scot free. So I don't know. I don't like his Batman.
Adding
so
like
then
that,
it'll, then for me it'll go Val Kilmer simply for the iconic Batman smile, which is the most ridiculous shit ever caught on film for 2 seconds. It's when Catwoman tells him she can't love him because she loves Bruce Wayne, and he's in the Batman suit because he thinks she loves Batman and he wants to fuck. And she's like, I can't. I'm in love with Bruce Wayne. And Batman goes, oh, I guess I'll leave. And he walks out the balcony, and it's its own shot. And it zooms up to his face, and he goes, in the Batman cowl.
Yep.
And that's it.
I literally just
That's
pulled the
it.
picture up, a picture of it
my
up on
God.
Google.
And it's perfect because it's the only time Batman has ever smiled in the suit, ever. It's so ridiculous, and people are like, George Clooney was camp, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? But yeah, and then I would think George Clooney, I don't even think they gave him enough time as Bruce Wayne to be like, I'm the playboy, because most of his Bruce Wayne scenes were with Robin and dealing with Robin's storyline with the bikers and everything, which was sick. So like, yeah, I think that's my list of Batmans. George Clooney makes the list. Ben Affleck doesn't. Stick to the town, dude. That was a good movie. Stick to the Boston accents. It's fucking great.
Go rob cars and banks.
Yeah,
do
dude.
that. Like,
It's fucking cool. Or be the really shitty king from The Last Duel. That's just a piece of shit. Like,
that was a great.
you're good
movie,
at
by
that.
the way. That was
also,
awesome.
Ben Affleck, you could probably just make money having paparazzi take pictures of you with your Dunkin' Donuts order, smoking a cigarette, because that's all you can find of Ben Affleck. He's like
Yeah.
holding Dunkin' Donuts, like 4 extra large, and I am convinced he drinks them himself in one day.
I could.
I
That's
have a lot of
Batman.
thoughts on Ben
Diet,
Affleck
dude.
unrelated
Batman
to
diet.
Batman.
What keeps you on the map? This meme.
Yeah, dude. Val Kilmer is top 5 for just the smile.
All the middle-aged moms on Facebook, like single moms on Facebook, it's like when your kid's screaming in the other room and you haven't had a break in 3 days.
Yeah, and it's just Ben Affleck chain
Oh,
smoking,
God.
dude. It's great.
No.
But yeah, those are my list of Batmans. Now, I want to ask you guys, what is your favorite Batman villain from his gallery of villains? I need to know.
Ooh.
Because, and also, I want to preface this with a rule, if you'll allow me. No one can say Joker.
No.
No one can say Joker. I know that's most people's number one, but from his rogues gallery of villains, besides Joker, which one is it for you? Because my answer is immediate.
Mm.
Mine would have to be Two-Face.
Two-Face, Harvey Dent. Okay.
Harvey Dent, Two-Face. Just because, what happened to him, it sucks, and then he flips by chance to see if you live or die, like, or anything he does. Like, it's all, and it just leaves it up in the air, literally.
Sounds chaotic good to me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, it really was. For me, it's got to be the Riddler. It's the fact that he knows all the answers, but yet he wants to make you figure them out. He
Right.
wants to toy, he wants to play. It's not always the same thing. Each riddle is more intense as it continues, and it's just I love a good mind fuck. So
Yeah.
Riddler's Bay.
It's also crazy because Riddler didn't have a freak accident, right? Riddler's
Right.
just a guy.
Yeah.
And we see that in this movie portrayed perfectly. They're like,
Oh,
when they find him, he's just like, I'm just some guy. Like when he looks at Batman and is like, Bruce,
Dude.
Wayne.
Oh, man.
And he's like, and Bruce is
Oh.
just like, I'm fucking scared. Like we
Yeah.
see Batman scared.
Yeah.
He's terrified because this random dude who lived above this cafe did all of this. And it's like,
And-
I'm just a guy. I'm just
Yeah.
one dude. If you punch, I'll probably die.
Yeah. And that is one of the biggest things that I love about him. And he is one of the other ones that knows who Batman is, but he'd rather make a joke of it.
Yeah.
That
Ah.
I thought that whole aspect of this movie was fucking insane.
Oh,
the
yes.
dark humor was beautiful.
Yeah, it was great. I would say my all-time favorite, just as far as appearance and the character from the different films, but for me, I really enjoy the what is it, Batman and Robin? The Bane, I believe, was in that one, Batman and Robin. But it's the
Yeah.
one where they portray him as falling into the chemical vat, and then they have to hook up like all the stuff to him and keep
Venom.
pumping him with that same like poison or whatever it is to keep
Which
him
I'm
like.
pretty sure we saw Venom in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I
when
didn't
he takes
see-
the green vial when he's up in the rafters fighting him,
Oh,
and he stabs it in and he goes, yeah, and comes up like
Yes.
the Undertaker.
I
Yeah.
actually, yes. You know what? That makes sense.
We need to go see this movie again. I was way too ripped, and I mean, I was in love. but
Now
need to
I
see
gotta,
it.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
I'm actually going to see it
But
again
you
sometime
know
this
what?
week. Actually, Josh and I were talking about that movie briefly, and I think we got a lot of great things from that particular Batman. And unfortunately, Batman himself was not one of those great things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that version of Bane was pretty sick. I did like him a lot. So I would say that Bane.
Love it.
So I think Trevor, you're the last one. You're the only one left to answer the
Yeah,
question.
man. Easy answer for me. And it came from Batman, the animated series. Loved him ever since. Even love Arnold Schwarzenegger for his campiness. It's Mr. Freeze. Because Mr. Freeze is the most villain that you almost root for. Like, nobody's rooting for Joker and being like, yeah, kill everybody in the city with your poison gas.
Yep.
Great. But with Mr. Freeze, you're like, this story is just as tragic as Batman's. And
Yeah.
we see in the animated series when he captures Batman, and he's like, you would freeze over all of Gotham. And he's like, I would freeze over the whole world. Because he can't touch other people. He can't be in a normal environment. He'll die. And so Batman looks at him and he's like, you would really kill all those people for that? And he looks at him and he says the hardest line ever. He goes, imagine it, Batman. A warm hand to hold on a summer's day, the wind blowing into your face. Yes, Batman, I'd kill for that. And it's like, oh shit, this dude can't be stopped by Batman just being Batman. So like when Batman defeats him and locks him up, the one thing Batman says to him, and it's the first time he says it to a villain in the animated series, he goes, I'm sorry. Because like it's so sad that the government funding was pulled from him and the dudes just walked in and pulled his wife off life support. Like
Yeah.
killing her. And he's like, I failed you. And it's like so sad sitting in that cell when he's holding that ice globe or the snow globe that like represents her with the dancer in it. And he's just like like I failed you, but I'll never fail you again. And it's just so good. And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of had that, like a little bit, but a lot of him was just like, what killed the dinosaurs? Ice Age. And you're just like, fuck it, dude, right? Like, what am I
Everybody
gonna do?
chill.
Yeah. Everybody
Chill.
But I
Again,
will say this,
another
the
thing
way
to
they
tie
made
into my statement. That's why that is one of the best Batman films,
right.
but the
Dude,
worst
the
at the same
intro
time.
scene, the intro scene at the like museum or whatever, when they're like sliding on the bones and like they're like
Ice
playing
skates and
hockey
everything,
against
like-
them, like it's so ridiculous.
What's
But
that saying?
yeah, also
So bad it's good.
That's why I
Exactly.
love.
Yeah.
That's why I love Jim
Exactly.
Carrey as the Riddler.
Oh,
Jim
God.
Carrey as the Riddler is
It
Oh
was
my
so
god.
beautiful.
Oh my
Um,
god.
Oh man.
but yeah, like that's my top tier villain. But with what you're saying with Bane, you can't ignore Bane, like especially the canon comics. You know, he's of Latino descent and then pumps this venom into his body and then breaks Batman's back and buries him in the same grave as his mom and dad. And he's
Dude,
like,
that's
now you can be
gnarly.
with them. And you're like, that's the Bane I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see the Bane that breaks Batman's back, buries
Tom
him alive,
Hardy,
and is like,
please.
die. No, I don't want Tom Hardy. I want the canon comic Latino
Yeah.
powerhouse that just comes and fucks Batman up, and Batman's like, I'm gonna die of suffocating. Like my back is broken. He's like in the coffin with his parents
Yeah.
and their corpses. Like the canon comics are fucked up, man. Like it's
That's some
crazy.
dark shit.
They're beautiful.
But with that being said,
I love it.
I know Red does want to talk about the Riddler scene with Batman in the interrogation room.
Yeah.
What was your guys' thoughts about that?
Chilling.
Paul did a great Riddler.
Dude.
Wrapped up in fucking press wrap, the whole 9 yards. Beautiful. And the way he did the Riddler in the interrogation room was just it was a
It was
mind
chilling.
fuck.
Dude, he creeped me the
Literally.
fuck out, and that's a good
Yes.
thing.
From the
Yes.
spine all the way up, dude. Like,
I felt so uncomfortable every time they showed him on screen. Every single
We-
time. I physically
we
felt
felt-
uncomfortable.
Yes, we felt what Robert Pattinson was showing. That is
Right.
how great he did. And and like he said, he's just a man.
yeah.
And it happened.
Right.
What?
And
Just
just
the way
we-
the eye contact, the emotion. I
Yes.
wonder if if they said, okay, we don't want you guys to do this scene. We want you guys to do the scene without seeing each other first. I wonder how that went, because I want to know. It literally looks like Robert
improvised.
Pattinson is literally sitting there like, this is what you look like. Now you fucking know who I am. You're scaring the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
It looked like,
Because he looked at the camera like,
yeah,
just gave
like
out my identity.
this is not only giving my identity, but and stuff like as Batman and Bruce Wayne. But it was like, I want to know how it felt like being an actor seeing that, because of just how Trevor said earlier, just the type of Batman and then Bruce Wayne. You have to have two different character personalities. Like, it is fucking gnarly what these guys do. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Well, and you definitely see that, like, not as confident, like, young Bruce Wayne whenever he says his name. He's like, Bruce Wayne. And just the look on his face is like, oh, fuck. He knows who I am. Like,
And
that shit
Riddler
was-
says it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every time he does it, Robert Pattinson ramps up even more because
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah, I'm going to keep reminding you, like, I know who you are. And he's like,
exactly.
But that line that he says where he goes, but this, it's like, I'm seeing you for the first time. This is who you really are. And that's when Robert Pattinson's like, ah, and he has that realization
What
of
have
like,
you
I
done?
have become
Like-
Batman. Like Batman is who I am. Bruce Wayne is gone.
Yep.
But I don't
Wow.
know.
The entire movie is a roller coaster of climax after climax. You get through one part and you're like, okay, the movie's almost over. Hell yeah, I wish there was more. And then it just starts again.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? I thought it was over. And here we go. We're going right back down. Okay. Okay. Hold up.
Yeah.
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 It really did feel like that. And I think I had a moment like that with Kayla around the 2-hour mark. I didn't realize how much time had passed, and the movie was kind of going through one of those kind of like, okay, we've solved this problem, moving on to the next. And I'm like, okay, surely it's getting wound down. Like, we've been in here for a while. I didn't know what time it was. I thought we were coming up close to it, and I looked at the time. We went to the I think it was at 9, so really it started like a little bit after 9, probably like 9:15 or 9:20, because fucking pre-movie ads. But so we were like almost 2 hours, like right around the 2-hour mark, and I was like, damn, we still have a fucking hour to go, and it just kept just going and go. I mean, and it was so intense the whole time, like Josh was saying, like it was a roller coaster of just new information and just intense the entire time.
Yes. It has you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end, because seeing him as Batman through part 1, then you go into part 2 where he's Bruce Wayne, and then you have the third part where he finally learns that he's Batman, but he has to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Right.
That is the entirety of the movie. It is the evolution of Batman.
They did it perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is why I say that Robert Pattinson does a great start as Batman. He's vengeance. He's that. And then it's kind of like at the ending is where Christian Bale's picks up.
Yeah.
I have to be both.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking, like, as we've been sitting here talking about it, and even how you were just describing it. In my head, while you're talking about it, I'm picturing this as that young, developing Batman. And then, like, if you just would take out Batman Begins and you just made this take place of Batman Begins, like, it could easily flow into, like, The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises with how that Batman was. And that Bruce Wayne being older and more mature and figuring out, okay, I have to be this way off without the mask on, and I have to be this way with the mask on.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Because the transition time is so small in that Batman Begins film. It's just, there is no transition. It's just, he gets back, he gets all of his shit for Batman, and he magically knows how to be both.
Yeah.
There's no development time.
Right.
And I love the fact that the biggest Easter egg at the ending, Joker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The Joker Easter egg was lovely. I don't know how I feel about the guy that they've got playing Joker. I think he can pull it off. He's got a voice that goes with it. The laugh was nice. It was
the laugh was creepy.
Dude, you could feel the Joker.
Oh.
But my thing is can he pull it off on screen? He's got a lot of shoe to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Pattinson went in there with a lot of shoe to fill, and I got this shit.
I'm gonna look on Reddit. Like,
nerds know best, dude.
He went into the study and just like went to Google. He's like, things people hate about me and hate about current Batman movies.
Who has the coolest Batman names? Like,
yeah,
well,
the darkest
for
Batman
me,
names.
that's one of the reasons why Henry Cavill, I was really excited for him to play Superman, and then was very disappointed. He's a big nerd and stuff like that, and that's why he's great at Witcher. Just going to leave that out.
Oh yeah,
there.
Exactly.
He is great, perfect.
But Robert Pattinson, seeing all the stuff he's been in, from Harry Potter to Twilight,
The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe, dude. That movie
that
was
was a good-
crazy.
That was
But-
nuts.
This movie actually got him out there, and it was beautiful to actually see him. All the actors, honestly, you got to see the best of their ability, because Andy Serkis coming in
Circus,
coming in as Alfred. I was nervous at first.
Same.
I think he did great.
Absolutely.
Because he did like most Alfred did. Hey, look, you've got to come back to reality at some point. I understand that this is your passion, this is your dedication. I'm not telling you to stop it, but you need to come back to reality and realize you're a man.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the realization of almost losing him and the transition was just beautiful. And I have to say that the movie got an honest rating of an 8 out of 10, or I think it was 8.6 out of 10 on International Movie Database. But I think it deserved at least a 9 or a 10 for me.
Oh, 10 out of 10, 100%.
Yeah. I don't like to sit down and be like, I'm going to go watch that movie again. But that one, like, if I had a choice of going and watching Jackass Forever again or Batman, I'm sorry, I'd have to go with Batman.
Yeah. I'm a huge Jackass fan, and I actually feel the same way. I would
see that's me. That
right.
Exactly. I grew up on Jackass. It's kind of like, no, it's Batman 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed my experience overall. I was gonna give it like a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10 because there was one pivotal moment, and honestly, I was so invested in the story that I did not even notice it until Kayla even remotely mentioned it. And you guys may or may not have noticed it and thought about it, or may have just moved on past it. But there's two pretty serious scenes. The first one being the first time Batman is at the police station, and he ends up being. And there, how does it end? It ends with them chasing him out, shooting at him, all that stuff. They were trying to kill him because he punched Gordon. Well, like an hour later into the movie, where's Batman at investigating this Riddler stuff? At the police station. And nobody's trying to arrest him. Nobody's trying to chase him. They're just interacting like they've been friends this whole time, or friendly this whole time. They're still like, you sure you should be letting this guy in here? But other than that, there was nothing else that indicated that there was an issue between him and the police just an hour before in the movie. And for me, that was the only like plot hole thing, quote unquote, that stood out to me. Everything else was pretty solid.
I see that now after you explain that. Now seeing that, I'm like, damn.
But see the way that you reacted is exactly how I reacted when Kayla explained it to me, because it didn't even click in my head that even occurred.
I think looking back at it though, I mean, Gordon's a good cop, right? He's one of the good ones. It doesn't mean he's the only good one. He could have trusted the guard that was looking after him and been like, hey, like, I need to do this. And the guy was like, I know you're good. Like, I know you're not a shitty cop. You're not dirty. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. And remember, he also tells Batman, like, I can't give you a whole lot of time. You have maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he does it, and then he pulls him out, and he's like, you got to get the fuck out of here. So it's one of those things of like, plot hole, yes. Is that how they would probably explain it? Yeah. Is that a good enough explanation? Not really.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you suspend the disbelief,
exactly,
you know, you're not worried about it until somebody glaringly points it out, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, but it's like I just said, I didn't even notice it originally. Kayla did, and even after she pointed it out, it didn't ruin the movie experience for me. I still enjoyed all of those scenes that we were just talking about.
You know what? Batman sucks. I've done this. Delete everything now that you brought that up. Like, oh god.
I think that I would give it a serious 9 out of 10. I do think there's some things that could have been done a tiny bit better, but it's a solid 9 out of 10 for me.
That's fair.
I can agree.
So I have one last question, if you'll let me ask it.
Yes.
It's just this: who do you think? I want to see if anybody gets it right. Who
Okay.
do you think is going to be the main villain for the Batman 2?
I think there's going to be multiple, not just one, that is
Well,
going to definitely be introduced.
Right.
But the main
Who
one,
do you
I would
think it
say
is?
the Riddler.
Not your
and
favorite,
The Joker. No,
but
I think it's
thinking
going to be
about
the
it.
Joker and the Riddler. Like,
Well,
somehow.
Could be, but also Penguin's left kind of standing out here with the conclusion of the events
And
of the
he
movie.
has, yeah, and he has that show coming out on HBO Max.
Is Colin Farrell going to play in that show as well?
Mhm.
Is it
He
gonna...
is
Oh
Penguin.
my god.
It is canon to Matt Reeves' Batman universe,
Wow.
like they did with Peacemaker and Suicide Squad.
I wonder.
Which,
I wonder
if
how
you
many
haven't seen
movies
it,
they
is
signed up
great.
for.
Oh my god,
Peacemaker is fantastic, by the way.
Peacemaker is
That
it's gold.
that
He literally.
end-
Let's just say this for anybody who wants to check out Peacemaker. He starts the rumor that Aquaman fucked a fish and calls Batman a pussy throughout the whole fucking
Yep.
movie. And it's fantastic.
It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
He is the balancing
Yeah.
factor to DC, I think, because DC
you
at
love-
times takes itself way too fucking serious.
I have to say in Peacemaker though, the best scene though was where he improvised and threw out 40 random names, like right there on the spot, and just a bunch of random different names. That was improvised. I loved sitting there watching the behind the scenes for that, and they're just kind of like, we didn't know what to do. We just let him go.
So good.
That I haven't
So
seen
sick.
it. My brother's been telling me how good it is, so I'll have to check that
It's
out.
worth it.
We'll watch it tonight.
You have to look.
Add that
look
to your
now.
list.
I'm warning
Right.
you. I'm warning you and everybody else. That intro scene is something else. If you're not ready for it, just skip it.
Yeah.
You have to be mentally prepared, or you're
I've
done.
seen childbirth. I'll be fine.
So have I twice, and I was not.
I beat you all. I've delivered 7 children into this world.
I watched and I participated. I win.
And guess what? You guys had to do it for free. I got paid for it.
Oh
So,
Shut up.
hey, dude,
Hey.
it just gets better for me.
I wouldn't say they did it for free. They ended up paying the hospital. You got paid. You didn't have
Yeah,
to pay
dude,
the
you guys
hospital.
paid for it. Jesus. But anyways, who do you guys think is the villain? We got Riddler and Joker. Dan, I want to know.
I think the Penguin is a good opportunity with how his story in the film was left. Because remember, the last scene that we see him, he's kind of like looking off over everything that's just happened as Batman is explaining how basically weak and what position the city is in after all this stuff that's happened. So it's a great opportunity for the Penguin to step in to do his thing. It can do a lot of stuff with it. So I'm gonna root for Penguin.
For me, it's one of two. They're going to introduce Harvey Dent in the next one. I feel that they're going to do it because it felt like there was an Easter egg pointed towards him in the movie. So I think that he's going to come in the next one. Whether or not he'll be Two-Face, I don't know. If he is, I'd be excited for that. But I would really hope it was Scarecrow, because it would be the perfect. It would be the perfect opportunity for Scarecrow to come in and take over Gotham. It would create for an opportunity to get everybody out of Arkham as well.
A Penguin, Scarecrow collaboration takeover of Gotham.
And at the end, all of a sudden, fucking Clayface.
I don't think we're going to see Clayface anytime soon.
No,
Yeah, no.
Like, no.
The
I was just
reason I
bringing
say
in
that-
some old school bad guys here.
The reason I say that is I think Matt Reeves doesn't want to do any more CGI like he did with Planet of the Apes. I think this is his grounded universe, which is why we saw more grounded utility Batman. I am hoping, and I love that none of you said Joker, even though he was teased, because I don't want Joker until the third or fourth movie.
Yeah,
I don't need
I'm
it.
the same way.
Also, don't give me any after movie credit scenes with Joker in it. Just show him in the third one, because you've already teased him in the first one. Second one, if we can get Penguin, Scarecrow, or Penguin Mr. Freeze, because they're already operating with the lounge. They're already operating with this idea. Mr. Freeze and Penguin have worked together before multiple times. Either or, that would be a solid case. Also, I have another thing that I think they might go with. Somebody had to tell the Riddler who Bruce Wayne was. They bring up the sins of my father, no more lies. That is a direct connotation from Court of Owls. And I guarantee you we will see the Wayne Foundation get made, the Court of Owls trying to kill him with their talons. And that is where we are going to get a couple of really intense scenes. And it's going to leave at the end with the Court of Owls releasing everyone from Arkham Asylum.
Oh my God.
I never put those two together.
I'm in it, baby.
I say we
I'm
revisit
fucking
this
in it.
conversation once they announce the new Batman movie, and we're gonna see how on or off that was.
Also, the first clue the Riddler gives Batman has a giant owl on the front.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kept talking about it the whole ride home. I remember. Literally, I was on the edge of my seat. He was leaned back like, I know everything that's happening. And I'm over here like a kid in a candy store. Like, do you see that? Do you see what's going on? Like,
Also, if you go on the internet to Ratalada, which is the thing, they have finally translated the code and cracked it. And it says, you think I'm finished, but perhaps you don't know the full truth. Every ending is a new beginning and something is coming. I think it's Court of Owls. I 100% think it's Court of Owls. But there's no reason why Scarecrow can't be in the Court of Owls. There's no reason Penguin can't be in the Court of Owls. So I'm freaking out. Also, I mean, there was a blatant Hush reference. Hush is connected to Court of Owls.
what if we're
Depends
all
on
wrong
what
and it's
people-
just fucking Poison Ivy? Like,
Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn.
You get me Anna de Armas is Poison Ivy, and I will never complain again.
oh my
Christian
God.
Bale's Batman will be dead to me. I will fully embrace Matt Reeves as God.
Oh my gosh.
And that's my promise.
God
I'm
damn.
losing my voice.
Oh man, I think that's a good spot to start winding down and a good point to end on. Holy shit, that was great. That was
We can keep
fantastic.
going.
Man, if you guys have made it up to this point in the show, I really hope you've enjoyed this shit show. This has been a blast. This has been a lot of fun, and it goes to show and say that I really fucking enjoyed Batman, and I'm sorry it took me so long to go see it after you guys were like, you need to go see this. I should have just went right then and there and watched it because it was great, and it led to this incredible discussion. So, but I'm going to let everybody go around, give themselves another shout out one last time, like we always do at the end of the show, and then we're going to call it. So thank you guys again. My name's Dan. You guys can look me up on Twitch, twitch.tv/RedbeardPlays. Twitter at RedbeardTV. TikTok is RedbeardPlays. And here on YouTube is RedbeardPlays on my own personal YouTube channel. So I appreciate you guys for supporting the show up to this point, and I'm going to pass the mic over to Red.
To Super Stoner.
Instead of vengeance, just THC.
cannabis.
And my utensils
That
would
was
be
the
like fucking
longest pause of all time.
Funyuns. I would just throw Funyuns like Chris D'Elia's fucking guy, and it'll trap you. But I'm Red Berserker Tyler. You could find me on Twitch, Twitter, some YouTube, and Instagram. Also, I am starting the channel with Dan and my brother with the Tilted Rolls. So we have a Discord for that now, and the YouTube channel up, and a logo. We're working on some other things, so I'm excited for that. And yeah, other than that, tonight was good.
Awesome. Question really quick before Josh goes in regards to the Tilted Rolls channel. So last week, I don't think we had the channel up in time to be in the description. Is it where we can put that down below now?
It should. I fixed it. I just had to fill out I had to verify some stuff.
Okay, but so I can put the link down in the description.
It should work, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
cool.
should be able to.
Awesome. So it'll be down in the description below. So if you guys want to go over there and subscribe to that channel for when that starts happening.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add on to that.
Well, you want the guy that wants to give all the shenanigans? That's me, Mortal Axis. I'm Josh. Find me on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all under Immortal Axis or the Immortal Axis. But yeah, that's where you can find me at.
Awesome. And now I will let Trevor one last time plug all of his projects and everything we've got going on. And man, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to come on the show. Tyler, thank you for reaching out to me and seeing if we could have him on as a special guest. This has been an awesome time, dude. So floor is yours, though.
Of course. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. You can find me at Twitter at Dungeon Hunters, it's spelt normally. You can find me there. On Instagram, it's Dungeon Hunters Podcast, and you can find us streaming alternate Saturdays at 6 p.m. PDT at youtube.com/Dungeon Hunters. And that's where you can find me. And then Tilted Rolls, of course, when the Tilted Rolls channel is starting to stream, you will find me there. And that's it.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. And we'll see you guys next week on the Shit Show Podcast.
Later.